burst meta. The burst meta. The burst meta.
Burst meta is one of the most hated metas in the game to date, and rightfully so. Nobody likes having nearly all of their health disappear in an instant.
The burst meta. Do your nipples get hard whenever someone says the word meta? The sexiest word in the world? Now when you're in the right mood, I can start defending the burst meta and try and convince you that you know nothing, the world you live in is a simulation and your prophets are listening to the wrong burning bush. Let's go. I don't have anything personal against other content creators or streamers, and I understand that everyone can be wrong sometimes. And this time, they are indeed wrong. The biggest offenders that I've noticed are, of course, JFlare, Rainday, Helvian, and a little bit of Z1. They all constantly complain about the burst meta all the time, which is kinda weird for players that are on the higher end of the skill spectrum. Well, at least two of them. Huh? Hear that? That's a sound of a crowd of their fans already typing something mean in the comments before I even got a chance to get my point across. There was a guy called Aristotle a long time ago, and for some reason among the teachings that he left, he said that flies have 8 legs. Maybe it was a typo, maybe not. But anyways, people trusted him so much that nobody bothered to count them. And for a pretty long time, everyone thought that flies have 8 legs. There also was another research on collective influence. People taking part in that research were sitting in a room with a team of actors that act like they are taking part there as well. But the real person who's been studied was just one. They were all being shown a certain shape or color, and the actors were saying that this red triangle is blue. One by one, every single one of them was saying, this is a blue triangle. And the test was of course about whether will that one person in the room think with his own head and call the red shape red, or will he surrender to the collective thinking and call the red shape blue, like everyone else. Believe it or not, but a huge percentage of people actually surrendered and started thinking that it's something wrong about them, and they all of a sudden stopped understanding colors. As you probably know, I often disagree with popular opinions, and in my room, I would force those fuckers to say what I say, not the other way around. I don't agree with someone just because someone else agrees with him, and I don't disagree with someone just for the sake of it. I just see it differently. Now, when I'm done explaining that a circle jerk about the phrase burst meta is indeed that, we can get to the point of the video. Saying that there is a burst meta in a first-person shooter game is like saying that there is a punch meta in fighting, or drive meta in racing, or kick meta in football. That's not meta, that's just how the genre works. You can play any other FPS game and you'll soon find out that anything that allows you to kill people faster than they kill you is considered strong or meta. The newest Call of Duty, Paladins sniper rifle is meta, cause it one-shots. Overwatch, Hanzo is meta, cause one-shots and ultra high DPS. You can go on and on with that, and in every game you will find that burst meta. Even if the devs will listen to the loud crying majority and will nerf all the guns and multiply everyone's HP by 10, there is still will be that burst meta. It's not gonna go anywhere. Even if the average TTK instead of 1.5 to 2 seconds will become 15 to 20 seconds, the champions that can kill people faster than the others will be top tier. More than that, the slower the TTK, the more burst damage means, because without that burst damage, you just won't kill anyone at all. Do you really want to shoot at someone for 15 seconds and watch him just eat that salvo of bullets and then just cut a corner and heal back up? I don't think so. A while ago I made a poll, asking people what do they think about TTK and which TTK requires more skill. As you can see, more than 80% think that low TTK is for noobs and high TTK is the real shit. That's where the game would really shine. I of course disagree. Paladins is not the first game in the genre. There were shooters before that. There were arguments before. There were arguments about TTK, and the TTK itself is not a new concept to the game design. High TTK is beneficial for lower skilled players, believe it or not. That's because the higher the TTK, the more tactical mistakes you can make. You go straight to the point instead of controlling the high ground. With high TTK, nobody can punish you for that. Maximum you get is you catch a few shots and you can safely retreat back into safety, not getting any penalty whatsoever. And the person who shot you, the higher skilled player, doesn't get any benefit from his high skill, since he can't really confirm the kill. You ignore half the map and a flanker comes from behind completely unnoticed and catches 3 of you with your pants down looking the other way? Fear not! High TTK won't allow him to kill you all, just because by the time he kills the first one, the other 2 will have 2 seconds to notice that he killed someone, turn around and kill him. And that higher skilled player that found a good moment and a flank route only gets 1 kill off of that sick flank he did. The higher the TTK, the lower any tactical play means. Right now the average TTK from squishy to squishy is about 1.5 to 2 seconds, and that's pretty high. In the latest Call of Duty it's about 300 milliseconds, and that's the slowest among all the Call of Duty games ever. Paladins is of course not just a shooter, it's a MOBA shooter with champions that have a very different weapons and the amount of HP, so in order to play off of that, the TTK here is extended. I understand that, but I often see people saying that they want the old TTK back. Now let's talk about that. There are a few things in the game that even I would say don't belong here. Semi-auto weapons are busted, headshot damage talents mostly work like random crits here due to very unreliable headshot hitboxes, and of course dredge, which is one big problem on its own. Not gonna go too deep into it this time. I agree that those elements are too much, but if we talk about the old TTK, I remember the old TTK, do you guys? I remember that 3k HP buck with heal and 2 jumps. He was practically unkillable. There is nothing you could do to kill him. He could jump in front of 5 people, hit 2 of them in the head, jump away and stay alive. He allowed to make infinite amount of mistakes and not get punished for it ever. Is that what people want? Is that what high skilled players want? A game where you're not getting punished for mistakes? Now imagine all the champions would become as unkillable as Buck back in the days. Every fight from a very fast and dynamic will turn into a happy pillow fight, where everyone shoots but nobody dies. Yeah! If this happens, the Cry-Side squad will be happy at first, but then they would understand what happened and get bored and frustrated from the game. Bored because nobody dies and nothing happens, and frustrated because they would never be able to carry a game anymore. In a high TTK team-based game, the personal skills of one player mean nothing. I've tested it. As you all probably know, I've been suspended. I had to make a new account and, for the lack of better word, smurf. While playing with 9 new and low skilled players, I was the best in the lobby obviously, and if you believe that if you're the best in the lobby there is no reason for you to lose, then you might try and smurf yourself, you'll be surprised. I could carry most of my games, regardless of what my team is doing. Whether they argue who is the noob here, who doesn't heal, feeding, living, whatever. Most of my games I could still carry. I needed to sweat my shit out really hard and deal 3 times the damage that everyone else did, but I could still do it. But
not with every champion.
If I would pick a champ that isn't lethal and can't kill more than one player a teamfight, then I depend on my team. It's not carrying if I expect my team to kill 4 enemies, it's a coin flip. So if I for some reason would pick a non-lethal champion that doesn't have the ability to kill people fast, can't punish enemies' mistakes and can't repeatedly kill multiple enemies every teamfight, I would not carry shit. And if I would win, it's not because I carried, it's because I got lucky that my noobs are a bit better than the other noobs. Not the outcome that a high skilled player wants. Now, I of course played mostly Victor, with a special Smurf firefight build, and this champion allowed me to take advantage of my skills and game knowledge that I acquired throughout my time in Paladins and punish enemies' mistakes. They stand next to each other, here's a grenade and ult. They forgot to control the map, I flank and immediately get an open frag. They flank but not careful enough, and instead of sneaking up on me they're just jumping in my face, I shred them to pieces. Victor is perfect for that, because he has that lethal potential. Same with the rest of burst meta champions, like Andro, Drogos, etc. But the best class to talk about here is the tank class. The only tank that I could actually carry games with was Makoa. No other tank allowed me to consistently, independently, get in multiple kills a fight. I tried it, it just doesn't work. As Terminus you can get 1 kill at best using your Calamity Blast, and for the rest of the fight you're forced to play off of your team. And when you're playing with the ultra low skilled players, it becomes kinda painful. As in Nara or Rakis or any other tank, you just don't have the tools to get even 1 kill reliably, and you're shackled to your team that is busy shooting walls and whatnot. Okay, you don't wanna talk about me? Let's talk about your favorite superstars. When you see Mutu playing Andro, he can carry most of his games. Helvian playing Drogos can carry a game. Vex playing Maldamba cannot carry a game. They all are the masters of their champions, but still, some of them can't win as reliably as the others. And that's because Andro and Drogos are little and Maldamba has to rely on his team, which is why Vex, while being a great player, when he plays in solo queue he barely affects the game's outcome. And every time I watch Vex, the only thing I have on my mind is, hey, if instead of trying to be a heal bot, you would pick something more deadly and go out there and frag out, you would win by now. And that's what Crytastic 4 wants. Let's increase the TTK, and with every champion we will not be able to get a kill without team's help. And our skill will mean absolutely fucking nothing. Amazing idea. And I can already feel what you want to say. Hey, that's not fair that McCoy and Victor and Andrew, they can carry a game but the Terminus can't. We kinda have to find some middle ground. Something has to be done here. And here, I agree. But instead of nerfing everyone to the point where they can do anything as well, I would suggest to buff those who can't get a kill to the point where they can compete with the others. To drag the DTK to the other side. And then we wouldn't need to just first pick Mako or Victor, because every champion would be able to confirm kills and make a difference depending on the player's skill. A lot of people in the comments gonna be saying that I'm dumb, low skilled, don't know anything about gaming, and how dare you say that some of the more popular content creators are wrong on a certain topic. People want to have a fair game. That fairness that they want is not the fairness that I want. They want to have a 50% chance of winning a game or getting a kill, even if you made a mistake and picked the wrong champion for that map, or you take fights you shouldn't, even if they go against a superior team or best players in the region, they still want to have that fair 50% chance at all times. Lately, Raindame made a video, Elo Hell and Burst Meta Rant, and that video pretty much sums it up what's wrong with the majority of Paladins players. I believe most of you have already seen the video, if not, for the first 5 minutes he complains about being matched against pro players every time, which is true, the matchmaking here is atrocious, and he says this.
It was 4 rows, it was like we couldn't do anything. I'm like, man, this is 2 hours I've spent trying to get this video, and this dude's just beating me anyway.
And then he says this.
But because maybe burst is viable now, whereas in the future maybe longer sustained fights are more viable.
He actually says that he wants sustained fights, aka pillow fights, where everybody is shooting but nobody is dying. Now let's stop on that for a second. You just said that you're playing against much better players. Now you complain that they can kill you? You don't want to be killed by higher skilled players? Really? But then what's gonna happen when you're the best player in the lobby? If the game becomes a pillow fight and pros can't frag out on you, then you can't frag out on other players. How fun is that gonna be? If you're the best player, it's your right to use your skills and experience to dominate over lower skilled players. That's competitive gaming 101.
And you can pick some of these lower health champions because they can stay alive before getting bursted down.
Oh yeah, please let me stay alive. Let the Drogus hit me with 7 direct rockets in a row and still let me stay alive. Problem is that if you can stay alive when you're getting shot, is that you're not getting punished for your mistakes. And the player that hits his shot and outplays you isn't getting rewarded for it. What do you mean, stay alive? Do you actually want to negate all the work the pros are doing against you using their skill and deep game knowledge? Does anyone want it? Do you want to go against pros and not die after making a mistake? I don't. I love getting wrecked by pros, because that's a great opportunity to learn something. Getting wrecked by a player that is better than you is a usual experience for competitive games, and while losing isn't that fun on its own, you can learn from that. And that will translate into getting more experience and becoming a better player. Rain Day, however, says that he just wants not to die when better players punishing him for his mistakes. And now, behold, the last thing I want to show you from that clip that just almost made my brain explode.
I feel very, very forced like this today to play like a bulk up Buck. I want to play Buck another way. I wanted to try and snare Buck, but you see the damage that I get? I mean, I'm getting 30% damage reduction. I'm healing for an extra 600. I'm getting 300 health on top of that, added for another 4 or 5 seconds onto my health pool, and I'm still dying super quickly in this game. Imagine if I just ran in snare.
Did you hear what I hear? Because that's very interesting. 1. Burst is strong. 2. Forced to play bulk up because dying too fast. And 3. Imagine if I would have in snare. Exactly, and snare, because the burst is strong, he runs the non-burst talent even though Buck has a burst talent, and you want to play with it. It's like, hey, I pick Makoa to kill people, but instead of Pluck, that allows me to kill people quickly. I'll run Leviathan because other players deal damage and I want to survive longer. It sounds like some kind of inverted logic. You're still gonna be dying quick after making a mistake, maybe half a second later, but in exchange, you yourself don't have that burst. You don't play with a little champion. Maybe that's a problem? It feels like that not lose mentality that I was talking about earlier. When a player, instead of picking something that will potentially grant him a victory, he picks something that will allow him to lose slower. I hope that the dev team knows what they are doing, and instead of making everyone not lethal, making supports that can only heal and tanks that can't do shit, they will actually work on making everyone dangerous, so there won't be that insane gap between McCoy and Terminus. And if they will go the other way around, and we will get pillow fights, the game is just gonna become boring, casual and random instead of skill dependent. Well, that's my take on the burst meta, TTK and this circle jerk about that. Once again, I don't have anything personal against my fellow content creators, but somebody has to think with his own head. Check the facts and call a red triangle a red triangle. And now it's your turn.